Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action. Hey, what is up, everybody? It is Dan here from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, and I am joined by Scott to review WWE Day 1. We are here live on Day 2. But yeah, we are going to talk all about the events of last night and the shock, as you may have seen in the opening graphic, the shock of Brock Lesnar winning a title for a match that on the
Shouldn't
day
have
wasn't even in.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you were on with us last night, you would have seen that was on the build-up show. You would have seen, obviously, this be the graphic for that one, actually, with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, which was initially announced. And then during the stream, we found out that Roman Reigns had actually tested positive for COVID-19. And then WWE then decided about 2 hours before the show to make a change to put Brock Lesnar in the fatal four-way match for the WWE Championship. And subsequently, Brock Lesnar emerged from that match as WWE Champion. But we'll get to that a little bit later on. Kicked off, I guess, literally with a kickoff show, which was Ricochet and Cesaro. I still don't think they've still got their team name, have they?
Nah, sadly didn't go with any of our suggestions from last night's build-up.
I think we could name these two the Broken Nose Crew, because Sheamus has had his fair share, and a very nasty-looking broken nose suffered by Ridge Holland last night. So
yeah, I missed it, and I just saw blood all over the mat, and it was like, wait a minute, what's happened there?
Yeah, I heard that he got busted quite badly, and then it was like,
the replay's rough.
Yeah, I think I heard somewhere as well that it didn't in the same move injured somebody in AEW as well, and then so apparently the last 2 times the move's been done, it's actually hurt someone. So I don't think we'll be seeing that for a while now. But anyway, it did obviously cause Ridge Holland to leave the match, unfortunately, and Sheamus putting on a heroic performance actually to come out of it victorious and ensure that Yumi and Lucas all gained a point.
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought they'd go the other way with it, because in it, the whole point we were like is because they're going to win to establish this team, and then they didn't. they just won because I guess that was probably a plan all along. We were probably right in that sense, but it's just weird that Ridge was out of the match, and hopefully he recovers quite quickly. But what a great performance by Sheamus. Yeah,
it really was actually. I mean, and we know obviously he's one of the best in there at the minute. Like former WWE champion, US champion. He's been there and done everything in WWE. But I think the only King of the Ring as well. I forget about that one. For me though, the strange thing is obviously Sheamus being a bad guy was left with the 2-on-1 disadvantage against the baby faces essentially, and usually it would be the other way around, of obviously a baby face being left with the disadvantage, but obviously we didn't foresee this happening. So
unplanned,
you'd think somebody may have called an audible and just said to him like, we'll just do it, just change the result up. But thankfully that would have gained Rob a point. So we'll won't touch too much on that.
But I thought it was a decent opener. The white noise on the outside was really cool. Hard hitting match as you expect with Sheamus and Ricochet having the what seemed like Harlem Heat inspired gear, because where they but good opener. Like considering all the drama that went on with it, very good opener.
It went a little bit like the Razor Ramon gear by by about a minute or two into the match, so with all the blood dripping down the knee. So,
yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But yeah, I think overall, your cooking time was spent quite wisely. So pizza was on the menu last night, yeah.
It was a good one, yeah. If you're still if you're watching us live, check out my Instagram, Scott_Reb Noise. You'll see in the story a little video of the pizza.
Yeah, and
if you're
also,
interested.
if it is your first time here, the running joke is literally the pre-show is Scott's cooking time. So every time we talk about the kickoff show, it correlates with what did you cook for dinner, sort of thing. So,
Indeed.
So yeah, this match obviously was on the kickoff show, and then we kick off the main show with the guys who this show is essentially a tribute to, and that is the Usos, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, taking on King Xavier Woods and the Hand of the King, Sir Kofi Kingston. The Usos, obviously, who have been down since day one-ish, are still down as SmackDown Tag Team Champions. That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
Surprised it didn't throw System of a Down in there as well. But yeah, so the Usos obviously did come out of this match victorious and still your WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champions. What a match this was. Second longest match on the show. And yeah, it was what you'd come to expect really from the Usos and the New Day.
Yeah.
Just a brilliant wrestling match. You know, they gave everything to each other, and nice to see the Usos using the 3D as well at the end.
Which they're now calling the 1D, right?
The 1D,
yeah, which kind of makes sense. That's kind of cool, but I didn't expect that, you know.
No.
But yeah, cool. And like you say, like anytime you get these two teams together, in some ways you can look at it as our same old, but it's always exciting. They're always really good together. Some great things in it, like the Trouble in Paradise kick reversal thing made me like literally go, wow, you know, like there's a lot that happened in this match. The double Uso splash, then interrupted for the pin and all that kind of stuff. Like it was one of those like edgy seat type matches. So I think it was a great way to open it up. I'm glad that they've kept the titles the New Day, not the New Day, the down since day ones, I should say, in the Usos. But because I don't know where it goes next, you know, I don't know who's really going to take it off of them. But for the current day, I see all these day and one and down, and it's all kind of getting confusing. They should be champs at the moment, so I'm glad to see it continue. Also, at the beginning of this match and just before it is when we first heard the words "premium live event." Dan, what do you think about that? I mean, I think it's going to take a bit of time to get used to, and it doesn't look like PLE doesn't look as good as PPV. Pay-per-view kind of rolls off the tongue. It's what? Please.
It's now WWE Please.
Yeah, should we start saying that? Instead of saying PLE or Premium Live, let's just call them Please. All right, we'll call them Please.
They're PLEs, aren't they? Please.
Yeah, please. But yeah, as in please don't be a crap one. And please don't go too late for us in the UK. But yeah, Premium Live event. I mean, it's going to take a bit of time to get used to that. But yeah, what do you think of it?
I can see why. It makes sense why, because I mean, realistically,
they're not pay-per-views anymore. Yeah,
it's like they're on the network essentially. So I mean, technically, you're paying for the network, but you're not paying like for the show unless you're like
it's a long time coming.
Back in unless you're living back in like 2000 and like 11, 12, 13, whatever, and you have to order it in the UK on Sky Box Office, then or wait till the next day and just find a stream from somewhere. They've not been pay-per-views for ages, and I think, you know, calling them premium live events, I think, you know, you'll still get the odd person that'll be like, oh, but what's premium about? And then they make sure that it is a premium event. It's like technically it is a live event and
it's paid for. So yeah, it's a tough one because I'm not sure if this term is the right term, but I completely understand why they've done it. You know, like you say, it kind of needed to happen a few years back. So it's felt weird, even when we've done like things for the channel and wrote descriptions about PPV. I've always felt weird writing it the past few years because knowing every time I write it, are they going to change what they call this? You know, and even on camera, they've still called it pay-per-views and network special. They toyed around with for a bit as well. But hey, PLE looks like it's here to stay. So please work out.
Yeah, and I think as well is it not written pay-per-view on your trophy as well from your predictions.
Oh yeah,
trophy.
of course. Yeah. Oh, now we're gonna have to get a new one of these.
It's the pay-per-view predictions trophy. So does that? I think that renders that one irrelevant now, mate.
I come off it. Just
that's so last year, isn't it?
We'll get to where I am on the table, but my goodness, that could you got more claims there for that.
But yeah, no, I think the whole pay-per-view thing. I think it's kind of had its day, sort of thing. The only interesting thing is what will they do? Like God forbid it doesn't happen, but if the pandemic does reach a stage again where they have to go back to like the Performance Center or, they have to go back to the Thunderdome. Technically, they're not going to be like a live event with crowds.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
exactly. Live event. Does it mean live with or does it mean it's and then even down to that live?
It's
like if this was
live,
if they went before with this, even like the kind of like behind closed doors stuff, they would have like WrestleMania wouldn't have been. You wouldn't be able to call it WrestleMania 36. They wouldn't be able to say this about that because it weren't live, and it wasn't a live event. So if they ever have a situation like that again, they've chosen some strange words there. But I kind of get it, but I kind of do feel like maybe they could have spent maybe another 20 minutes and come up with something a little bit better. But hey, I haven't bothered to do that, so I'm not going to give them suggestions. I'm sure it'll work out and we'll be used to it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you say about they could have taken time to think things through. I mean, you could say that about most of the episodes of Raw from the last year as well.
And this is the company that have a title called the Universal title, and we've had to just suck it up and let it go. Do you know what I mean? And the WWE Universe, we still have to take weird phrases like that. So I'm sure in the grand scheme of things, Premium Live Event ain't that bad.
It's one of the better ones.
It is one of the better ones, yeah.
So, I think, overall, they're on the right kind of tracks. But as I say, this match, going back to the SmackDown Tag Team title match, for me it was probably one of the matches of the night. And for me it's an advert whenever the Usos and the New Day get in the ring. For anyone that says about they're not too sure on tag team wrestling, I'd just say just go back and watch like any of the many matches between the Usos and any iteration of the New Day, and that will show you essentially in WWE terms what tag team wrestling is all about.
It's just that it's always the same people and it's always the same kind of it's the title match. It's kind of like the same as the women's division a lot of time, so but it's tough because like you say, like when it's done well, it's some of the best things on the show. So and this is a great example of that.
Exactly. And talking of things that weren't so great though, Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss. This match was a match that happened. It was what it was.
Went on a bit long as well, didn't it? I mean, I guess because they felt like they were making up time.
So that went the exact same amount of time as the pre-show. The only match that went shorter than it was the main event. So
wow.
9 minutes, 9 minutes and 45 seconds.
It just felt long. I mean, it's this feud that I wasn't that invested in because that's on my side. I weren't really watching lately, and don't really know much about Madcap Moss, to be fair. But the belt and braces thing, mate, you do realise that they're both doing the same job there. You don't need to wear both.
They call them suspenders as well. It's like
suspended, yeah. Well, something else I noticed in this as well is the new camera shot they've been trying out a lot lately, with a kind of to show some of the fans in it as well. So that's quite interesting to see. One thing I did like in this,
though.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what they're trying to be like. Yeah, like they probably a year out without fans. Basically, they've been like, let's take advantage of it now. And show the fans off more. But something I did like was the Trio Woe kind of slip and headstand thing that Drew was in. That was a cool little spot. It was cool, especially when we see it with someone as big as Drew as well. But generally speaking, like it was an inoffensive match, but I'm not raving about it either.
Yeah, I think to be fair, it was just like another hurdle like that for Drew to kind of overcome before he eventually gets back in the title picture. But
later on he gets attacked though, doesn't he? And there's rumors that he's written off TV now.
Yes, apparently he is suffering from
legit injuries,
a real legit it's a slight neck issue. So they said until he gets that evaluated, obviously they can't really use him on TV as much. But he's been working with it. They said that it doesn't look like it's anything too serious at the minute.
I hope not. They just made him wrestle a match.
Yeah, it may just be a couple of weeks sort of thing, but
yeah, like it needs a bit
always
of rest.
Good to sell. Yeah, there's nothing worse than someone coming out, they've got attacked, come out there next week and their neck brace, just rip their neck brace off, sorry, and be like, yeah. I'm fine. And yeah.
Predictable though. Drew obviously wins. 3-2-1. We still got to do that rubbish, but
Yeah. And talking of 3-1, it was that was what the score was. So it was 3, obviously you, me, and Rob, and then 1 was Lucas picking Madcat Moss.
Yeah,
was a bit of a Madcat
Lucas on that one,
wasn't he? So
he does well with the rest of the night though. But yeah, we'll get
I mean, overall it was a good night for some of us, I guess. So then we go into the Raw Tag Team title match, which was the Street Profits versus RK Bro. There was some rappers come out with them as well.
Yeah, Migos. I mean, I don't understand like this match, and I was they're like a trio, like they're all related and stuff. So, but anyway, they come out with RK Bro, and the other team, Street Profits, are baby faces as well. So the match was confusing in the first place. But usually when you get a celebrity endorsement, like it's to play up against the heel. It's an easy way to do it. And I said it in the build-up show last night that I was confused about this match in the first place. I was confused about the babyface dynamic, and that in the final even that they won to get to the match against the Mysterios. I was confused about that dynamic there as well, because the Street Profits, I was like, oh, they heel now. Like their gear looks a little bit different. Montez Ford's got different hair. I was like, have I just missed something? Like, and then in this, they kind of wasn't not heel, but they kind of took the back seat because they didn't have the celebrity endorsement. Do you know what I mean? And then eventually they're all buddy with them anyway, and everyone's happy at the end. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it doesn't always have to be a heel babyface dynamic, but at the same time, this was very confusing. I was expecting a heel turn or something. But hey, when you talk about tag teams and wrestlers that go well together, I thought this was a nice kind of blend as well. It was a good match. I can't lie. It was a good match as far as the in-ring stuff. Storyline wise, just didn't get it.
Yeah, I think as well, the show overall, it was a good showcase for tag team wrestling. I think both the tag title matches, they were given time, and they were both really, really good tag matches. And as we mentioned on the build-up show, Randy Orton and Riddle work so well together. And obviously, if you haven't already, go check out our interview that we did with Riddle, where he mentions about Randy Orton, what he's learned from him, and talks very, very, very highly of Randy Orton. And you can tell in Orton's work at the minute that he is liking what he does. I mean, we saw him at a regular live event, not a premium one. We saw him at a live event, and he looked like he was just having so much fun, Randy Orton. And I think the Randy Orton, when he's out there and he's really enjoying what he's doing, is one of the best in the business. Yeah,
and it shines through as well, doesn't it? So it's
exactly. And Riddle will only kind of learn from him, and Street Profits as well, being in there with like a veteran like Randy Orton. It's still strange to think that Randy Orton is like a 20-year veteran of the ring, and like that makes me feel so old as well.
When you remember his debut, that's the problem.
Remembering all that, and him winning the title at the age of 24 when he was like the youngest world champion ever. That's strange, man. But yeah, Randy Orton obviously he's come a long way since those days, and since the Evolution days, he's evolved into this tag team champion now. And yeah, overall, I think a very, very decent tag team match.
Storyline wise, again, me. But Montez Ford got a shout out though. The cool little dance he did, very impressive. The boys got moves. I'm just trying to think of anything else before we move on. I guess like
good to see him back in the ring and healthy as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Been out for a while, so.
But yeah, and a push-up RKO as well. Like that was pretty cool. So yeah, very good in-ring quality at least. So
yeah. So then we move on now to Edge versus The Miz. Now this one was the longest match on the show, 20 minutes.
Shock horror, an Edge match going on too long.
Normally Randy Orton.
Yeah.
But yeah, these next two matches, were not very good for you, me, and Rob. We all
Mm.
picked the wrong people to win in both these matches.
Yeah.
And the only one that got them right, surprisingly, was Lucas, because he was having this thing last night, Lucas. He was on one where he was like,
Tactical.
I'm just going to go opposite to whatever you guys say.
And to be fair, it kind of worked for him.
And it worked, because he was the only one that said Edge. I think our reasoning for picking The Miz was pretty much the same.
And it's obviously going that way, but we didn't see it happening so soon, I guess. You know, I think we all thought Miz was going to win at the expense of Maurice and she'd get away, not expensive, but a cause of, I don't know. And she'd get away with it, and we'd eventually get Beth, but I was surprised to get Beth already. So we were kind of right in our thinking, but we just thought they'd pull the trigger a lot later.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I thought that they would do something with Beth Phoenix when she revealed that she was coming off of NXT commentary. So I was thinking, is this going to be, you know, are we going to see more of her on like the main roster kind of thing?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's interesting to see whether it's a Rumble program or whether it is going to be kind of eked out a little bit longer to see what they do with it. But yeah, Beth Phoenix. And I liked as well the fact that obviously you just see Miz pointing at the pointing up towards the ramp, and then Beth standing there. Then her music hit and coming down, and she just looked like a right badass when she came down. And
so I can't tell why they did that. Why they didn't just hit the theme and she come out? Like
probably Kevin Dunn didn't.
Was it a mistake or was it on purpose? Because she just lingered for a while. So I don't know if it was, you could argue maybe it was on purpose and she was like there, and when the music hit she was like, boom, I'm going now, I'm back in Glamazon mode or something like that. She looked great, by the way. You know, I thought it was it was great to see her come out. She looked really, really cool. And yeah, it's great to see. I like the idea of this kind of feud, I really do, but I just feel like time-wise I don't really understand where they're going with it. It does feel a bit of a quick shot. I mean, the feud could be over. Do you know what I mean? Like this could be it. Maybe that's why they've rushed it and Edge is on something else. But yeah, strange for me. I do like, speaking of entrances though, like I did like Edge coming out as Brood Edge again. I like that he's using that his character, and that they've kind of paid homage to that in the past few months. You know, the Brood bath is annoying that it's black goo rather than even red. Like that's frustrating. And as much as I thought the wedding kind of thing was quite funny, they stood still for about 10 seconds while the music hit. Like, come on, you know what's happening here. So like, I feel like they could kind of tweak that a bit more. Some of those tweaks they won't make, like the color of the, you know, fake blood and whatever. But I am on board with Edge using that. And then you've got to do Metalingus because that's what people want to see. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of covers both sides of it. So yeah, anytime I get to see Edge come through flames and do the rated R stuff, it's like, well, mate, this is going quite well.
Yeah, he's one of the best of all time, and you know it's got it kind of reminds me of like when Shawn Michaels came back after all that time that he was out with his back injury.
Yeah,
you know, and he obviously came in and he was like the Heartbreak Kid for a little while, and then he went back into DX mode, and you know that all that kind of stuff there. yeah, exactly. And
he flirted once with being heel with that Bret Hart fake reveal, which was fantastic, and you know the Hogan program. But
who's your daddy, Montreal?
yeah,
that was quality. That I actually watched that back a few weeks ago.
Did you? Yeah. Oh mate, it's great. That whole program, everything. That whole feud was great. But
then the Hulk Hogan cramp.
Yeah, which we quoted non-stop like every day for about 10 years.
Anytime we'd get cramp, like at school, whatever it was, it was just like,
or anyone looked like they got cramp, or we're watching football, someone's got cramp.
He's laying on the floor. What do you think he's got? Cramp.
So great moments.
But yeah, so the RK Bro match, obviously for all of us, was where the points stopped, except for Lucas. But for overall, Edge and Miz. Again, I think it just went a bit too long. It's like, stop giving them 20 minutes plus every bloody show.
Yeah, I thought Maurice was great in this, though. Her working up to the camera, like the way she was looking, like constantly, like, I might get involved. I don't want to get caught, watching out for the ref. I thought she was fantastic. And then doing the bag slap, basically, and the skull crushing finale. Like, wow, what a moment, like Edge kicking out of that. I thought it was very, very well done, that part.
And there was a little bit as well during the match, and it was quite like a a thing that you don't often see, and that was a bit of excuse me, there's a little bit of like emotion and I don't know what the right word, but from the referee, like when she was like, when Miz was trying to cheat and she spotted his foot on the ropes and she's basically berating him like, no, this is not happening on my watch. You know, I'm on this. You know, like it's not happening under my watch.
Yeah.
The way she was proper going off at him and that, and it's like giving the referee a little bit more personality rather than just you know, just a wooden person that's in there to count a 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. You know, and if you notice something, Edge has had Jessica Carr refereeing pretty much 90% of his matches since he's been back.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that was something that he personally requested.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, because it was one of those things, I guess we'll get into a bit more like refereeing stuff in the next match because there's a little bit of things going around where people that I've heard have said a bit about bad officiating in this next match, which was Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan for the Raw Women's Championship. Again, all three of us except Lucas predicted wrongly that Liv Morgan was going to win the match, and Becky Lynch did emerge as the Raw Women's Champion. Bit of a botched finish by all accounts as well. Becky meant to get her foot on the ropes. Apparently, that was the planned finish, but obviously she was too short. She couldn't reach the ropes and ended up pinning her clean.
Yeah, not a good look.
But yeah, there's been a lot of talk really that the referee was counting really slowly, or it was just like a really delayed count. So it's like 1, 2, and it'd be interesting to see if it does play into anything because it's the same referee that on SmackDown a while ago was essentially paid off by Sonya Deville to do a fast count in, I think it was Naomi versus Shayna Baszler, I think.
That's weird then that someone would kind of, I know it's not real, but you know, if this was and that came out, they wouldn't just straight back be into doing that again. I don't know, it's a bit of a, maybe they would. We've seen some dodgy things in the world of football, but yeah, a bit strange. I mean, and don't take offense to this, but I fell asleep around this point, right? I can't remember exactly where I fell asleep, and I watched the rest of this match and the main event in the morning. And my notes, I wrote, and I don't understand what this means, so maybe you can help me, Dan, because I can't remember what I was talking about. Half asleep, clearly. I wrote full 4 count, nearly capped. I think capped might be a typo, though, but I have no idea what I was talking about there. But
full 4 count.
Like maybe I meant.
Maybe it was.
Was there? Maybe there was a pin that looked like it was a 4 count. I don't know.
I have no idea. That makes.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Because even when I watched it today, I didn't want to. I was like, where did I fall asleep? Where was it? And then I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I did slightly think that maybe Becky, because she looks for the rope, she tries to do it, and I thought maybe because remember she said recently when she held the rope, she didn't have to. She did it because she could. You know, so I thought maybe that's what that was. She was going, this time, I'm not even going to do it. Like, it looked like maybe it was a bit, because she looked genuinely concerned of like, am I going to reach this rope? I was in 2 minds of like, is this a genuine mess up? And she's trying to reach the rope and she decides not to because she genuinely goes, I can't reach it. Or was it storyline where she is playing the role of I'm in 2 minds and panicky because I'm going to do it and I've decided not to kind of meh. So like they can work it to their advantage if it was an accident, they can make it kind of go along that same route again. But if it is an accident, it's unfortunate because it is a shame for Liv Morgan, who, by the way, performed fantastically in this. She's getting better and better. And it just shows that because before we'd see in a lot of kind of like multi-matches and stuff like that, or not very long matches, it shows that if she is given the opportunity and she is progressing like she has been, she can have a main event caliber match in the women's division. So I thought it was a fantastic showing from Liv. A real shame, though, that they still haven't pulled the trigger with her. And as we mentioned last night, eventually fans are going to be like, well, she's never going to win while I'm still cheering for her. So they really need to start being careful with this one.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, the whole thing with the finish as well, it's you got to think, if it was a mistake, then it could have, if that was the way that they were going, it could kind of like not necessarily ruin the story, but then it would have had like Liv would have had that gripe of, oh, you had to get to the ropes to beat me sort of thing. Whereas with Becky not getting the ropes, Liv has then lost clean. So
yeah, exactly. And again, now where does she get the Rumble? Again, like I said, I don't want her to now win the Rumble for it to be a moment to go back to the same feud. It's
unless she wins the title, unless she wins the belt at the Rumble, and then you maybe have like have that go on earlier. Maybe Becky enters the Rumble sort of thing.
But that's we've kind of had that. The only way it works is like when Shawn Michaels was desperate to win the Rumble to face Undertaker, and if they do something like that, and Liv is desperate to do it, and even Becky tries to stop her from winning it because she's scared of facing her again because Becky said like some weird contract thing of you've had your chance now, or like unless they do it like that, I don't really now want to see Liv win the Rumble at this moment in time because I feel like that shouldn't be a moment. She should either win the title or she shouldn't have been in this feud and then won the Rumble. Like she needs a moment, but yeah, let's do it properly.
Yes, it's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting to see what way they actually do go with it, and I think it's long overdue. I mean, going back to like the Riot Squad days as well, like they were all so talented. It's like, when they brought in the tag titles, why they never put tag titles on them as well, I always thought Ruby was like the standout in that Riot Squad. And, I thought they could have put the women's title on Ruby.
Yeah, there's only so many times you can be overlooked as well,
Yeah, exactly.
Got to get great in.
And obviously, we've seen recently Toni Storm asking for her release as well. So, there's obviously
exactly. And we mentioned last night as well. Strike while the iron's hot. Maybe they've got a plan, and we're just kind of airing our kind of concerns here, and it doesn't matter. It's all going to be all right. But for me, I hope there's a plan because sooner or later we're not going to care.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing stopping her from like going into the Rumble, possibly winning the Rumble, and then going after the SmackDown Women's Champion.
Maybe, yeah. And also, I did notice as well, they really showed a lot of fans in this, and I know they kind of played on the whole like her version of the Miz girl. And they are showing a lot of kids when they did that. They showed a lot of fan reactions in this match. Again, touching on what we said earlier about they finally got fans back. Maybe they're just using them as much as they can now to, remembering what they kind of missed out on for so long. But it felt like they were really showing off children. So I thought like, they're trying to this baby, proper pushing this babyface kind of Liv Morgan thing, which made me think even more. She's winning the title. So it was a real shock when they didn't do that.
Angry Liv girl, not angry Miz girl this time.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel, but it's like one of the many things that he does. They stumble on something and they kind of push it too much. You know, so I feel like they might be milking that now, and then we're gonna. I don't know. We'll see.
And then we get in finally to what was the main event of the evening, and ironically the shortest match on this entire show, and that was the fatal 5-way. Eventually, match between Big E, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, Seth freaking Rollins, and Brock Lesnar.
That's it. Nice one.
So none of us saw this coming. Half of us have done our predictions before this match even was announced.
In the middle of it,
literally. I think 3 of us had gone. I think there was the last person was about to do their prediction.
Was Rob? Yeah,
it was Rob. None of us actually decided. Once we knew Brock was in the match, none of us decided to change our minds.
No.
Seems like the only person that did change their mind on the winner of this match was Vince McMahon.
I was really shocked by it. And before, without going into all the reasons why we thought it wouldn't happen last night, go back and watch the build up because I know the show's happened now, but we do have a lot of interesting discussions on there. So if you get some time, check that out. But I was very shocked. Now, when I woke, like I said, I watched this in the morning. I accidentally stumbled across a spoiler, and I knew Brock was winning. And I was gutted because I was like, I really wanted that shock. But at the same time, I got to say, I watched the match, and it was short and sweet. It was so exciting. It was so entertaining. And I said it last night on the stream, like when Brock has these multi-man matches, like it works very well. That one he did with Seth and Cena at the Rumble a few years ago, as I mentioned last night. One of my favorite Brock Lesnar matches, and I thought this was so good. You could argue it was too short. You could argue it was too spotty, but I can't argue against the fact that I had fun watching it. And even though I knew it was going to win, I was excited to see how we were going to get there. I don't know where this goes, and we'll get into that I'm sure, in a bit. But just touching on the match and some of those big moments. Like, firstly, felt like presentation of it, and this was very well done all night. The video packages were great, and I like how they had to, edit Brock in. They still did that. And it felt like a big time match, the way they had presented it before they put Brock Lesnar in. Brock entering last kind of gave it that kind of hype as well, but again goes against traditional views that a champion should come out last, which was a bit of a pain. But I got it in this circumstance because it was like, this is a very different kind of match. And then starting out really strong as well, so with Suplex City, like straight away, and then E just coming in and clattering him. It was cool. It was cool to see Big E kind of hold his own, because I worried that he would kind of get lost in the shuffle here. The focus wouldn't have been on it; would have been too much heavy on Brock. I'm gutted he took the pin. Personally, I think he shouldn't have. It reminds me of the Kofi thing. Nowhere near as bad as the Kofi one, but still frustrates me that you're gonna do. Like, you should read your audience. Read, if you're gonna do this. And there's still a portion of fans that are frustrated about things to do with Brock. I personally love this whole kind of period of Brock at the moment. And I'm excited to see where it goes now, because it is on the fly, it feels like. But don't have E take the pin, please. And the fact they did really frustrated me.
Yeah, there's as you say, there's 3 other guys in there that could have taken that pinfall. And, we finally did get the showdown as well that we've been waiting for years, seemingly. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, who you had the chance to speak to as well. Mentioned a little bit about Brock Lesnar as well, and why the match hasn't happened, but potentially we could be seeing that match. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, they gave that look at the end, didn't they? Lashley at least gave a real interesting look back towards Lesnar. And he, straight through the barrier. I mean, that spot's, an overdone one, you could say, but still, hey, I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And it was cool, because it was just like, I wanted the moment of them together looking at each other, though. That's the only thing that I kind of withhold back against as far as the Lashley involvement in this. But in some ways, you can argue, but their first ever kind of contact was a kind of highlight of, it was massive as well. Like, boom, it was so kind of highlights what you'd expect from these two guys, explosive. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely going to happen, I think, at some point. Whether it's going to be more of a Rumble face down, I mean, because it's going to, we obviously don't know exactly where it's going to go from here. Obviously, another guy that we spoke to was now former WWE champion Big E, spoke about a dream match with Goldberg. So, potentially we could have that one down the line. We also had the chance to speak with Kevin Owens as well, who was very gracious with his time as well. Obviously, we didn't know anything about his contract status at that time. And then someone we didn't speak to, but you did a little tribute to, and that was Seth Rollins. Seth freaking Rollins now. Keep forgetting that he's got a middle name now.
Yeah, of course he has. Got to say, though, those two work very well together. I liked all those spots as well. Owens is, and just this got to point out as well, that beautiful frog splash to the outside, and the way they took out Brock as well. It's so cool seeing Brock work with other people, because he is such a anonymous. I'm trying to get that word. Anonymally, I'm messing it up. You know what I'm trying to say. And it's just so exciting to see him fresh in there with new people, and it was really cool seeing the two of them work together. The only thing I didn't like is how they took him out and he jumped back in the ring. As much as the visual, it was great, him F5 and everyone until was he speared, I think, by Lashley or something? Let me see. What my suplex? I don't. Yeah. Anyway. F5, then he gets a spear and there's a 2 count, right? As great as that looked, it made no sense. He'd just been DDT'd in some steps. I needed to see you groggy for a bit, not jump up in the ring, go, sell it a little bit, please. But the moment itself was really cool. I just wish we had something in between that to kind of tell the story a little bit better as far as a realism point of view. But just touching on that realism point of view, that excitement for Brock is something that's carried over since his UFC days. It feels like when he's in a match, it feels legit. It feels anything could happen. Do you know what I mean? So that's always a nice fun factor for Brock Lesnar matches, and I think they had it here as well.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say is it's just, I don't know if other people feel the same way, but for me, it's getting a little bit. I need to think of the nicest way to put it. It's getting just a little bit boring now. The fact that they just keep throwing Brock Lesnar into matches and putting the title on him. It's like, Brock Lesnar himself should be the attraction. So you're getting a match with Brock Lesnar. It doesn't always have to be Brock Lesnar with the title. And, obviously Brock is renowned for not having a standard WWE contract where he's there all the time. So it's like, are you now going back to a stage where your championship is not going to be around for a considerable amount of time until Brock Lesnar is contractually obliged to show up again, sort of thing? For me, that's the one thing.
Tough,
Brock Lesnar, I love Brock Lesnar as a performer. I think, the new look and the way that, he's going about his business at the moment is superb. But I just feel as though there was, 4 other guys in that. I mean, it would be interesting to actually be a fly on the wall and know what the original plan for that match was.
I mean, so there's 2 sides of this. What were the original plans for both of those matches? Let's think about that, right? And then secondly, what does this mean for the future? So firstly, does this mean Brock was going to win a title and Roman was going to lose, which I really don't think. I went for Roman Reigns last night before we realized it wasn't going to happen. So I don't think that's the case, but it could be argued that maybe it was like, well, we're going to give you another title then, because I find it's really strange where it's going to go from now, but obviously we'll talk about that next. And then does this just mean that E was losing all along? Because again, I thought Owens was going to win. So I do think E was going to lose, and I still think it was going to be Owens. And I do think Brock wasn't going to win a title. So it's a weird kind of mix there. But what do you think? Where do you think this means we go with this?
Yes. I mean, the thing. So I've been listening to a few different different podcasts on it and different opinions on it and stuff. And there's been a lot of people I've noticed in different comments and all that stuff saying, are they going to unify the titles?
Which is what Rob said last night, and all of us were like, nah, because it was last minute.
But then you think, okay, so if they're going to do that, then the place to do that would be WrestleMania. Realistically, would be the unification match. But then, what does it then mean for the winner of the Royal Rumble? Unless you do the unification match on night 1 of WrestleMania, and then night 2 you have whoever wins the Royal Rumble faces the winner of that unification match.
But I mean, why would they unify? I mean, again, when Rob said last night, the reason why I shut it down straight away was because I was like, nah. Well, firstly, I thought he wouldn't be winning it, and I was like, well, no, because this is all made up just on the fly. So they ain't just suddenly decided to unify. But I guess the argument could be had that no, they were already in talks, and that's what swayed them last night. They went, look, we know we're going to unify them soon anyway. Why don't we just do it like this? Maybe that's what they came up with, and maybe that is the case. But I don't see why they'd be unifying the titles anyway.
Yeah, I'll be honest. My opinion is I don't think they need to do that. I don't think it's the wise thing, especially because of how stacked the rosters are at the moment. It's like, it's just going to mean that one of the shows is going to be really, really dull if you've not got a top title to challenge for.
Yeah, definitely. But so where do you think it will go then? Because, I mean, he's got to get back into... Is he on Raw now? I mean, what the heck is going to happen?
I have it's so confusing. I mean, I think the way that they'll probably do it next is on SmackDown. He'll probably end up beating Xavier Woods and taking the King of the Ring crown, and then he's got his his hat trick of New Day people. And obviously ending Kofi's title reign, ending Big E's title reign. Then he'll probably nick Xavier Woods' crown. I mean, Brock Lesnar, we saw how funny he was when he won Money in the Bank. Imagine him with that crown as well. And
he'd be a cool king. He's been King of the Ring though, isn't he?
Former King of the Ring, wasn't he?
Yeah, but that wasn't in the fun Brock Lesnar era. That was in the kind of all business Brock Lesnar era, So, but I mean, I don't know, man. Because surely they've got to go on with this Roman Reigns thing now. So maybe they've kind of called an audible and went, you know what, let's keep them apart for a bit. Because again, even last night we were like, how long is this feud going to go for? Is it going to Mania? If so, it's starting a bit too soon. It has to peak at the right time. Does Heyman kind of prove his allegiance? Does he turn? Does he do what? So I mean, did they suddenly go, you know what, let's step out of the Rumble thing, and maybe we were, maybe gave them a chance to rethink things, and they wanted to freshen it out, because you can't argue it weren't exciting last night. Do you know what I mean? As far as we don't know where it's going to go, and that's what makes it exciting, to be fair. It's just that we have a fear of previous track records and where it could go, and I completely disagree with the fact that he was the one to take the pin. But it could be very exciting, but I think surely you got a new problem now of like you got to get the title off him now. So because surely he's going after Reigns.
Yeah, I think they see. My thought on it would probably be maybe the 4 men that were in the match. They just all kind of form this kind of allegiance just to kind of beat him down and just try and weaken him up, and then one of them somehow gets a match against him. Whether Bobby Lashley, for example, could get the match with him. Maybe at the Rumble, have that match, and then essentially just take. That's how you eventually get the title off him. But it's always that thing whenever Brock Lesnar is champion of, okay, who's going to beat him? How do you how? And somehow they always manage to do it, but it always seems like Brock has these long title reigns, and I think this should be a change from the norm and just have just a short, quick title reign of okay.
Yeah, if there's ever a time to do it, it's now.
I mean, the thing is as well, does he drop it straight back to Big E? Maybe. I mean,
yeah, maybe that makes E look good. I mean, yeah, maybe it's not so bad for E after all. But I do feel that E was probably going to lose it anyway. So it's yeah, I think Seth should have took the pin as well, because I think Owens would have been controversial. Lashley wouldn't have been good. I don't think either. I think Seth would have been the most comfortable taking a pin, best, would have made most sense. So doing it on E is really frustrating. But hey, who knows? Again, it throws a spanner in the works, but it could create some great opportunities here as well. So hopefully that's where we go with it.
Yeah, and I mean the thing, you look at that match as well. That just flash that back up. So Brock Lesnar, obviously now the champion. There's 4 worthy challengers. It just in that one graphic with him.
You've got to force a feud out of it now as well. It's just, again, the whole Roman thing is so, because what does Roman do? If Brock goes off and does this, because maybe it was just going to be Brock was going to lose because Heyman was going to prove himself to Roman, and Brock was going to go away, and then maybe this was the end of the feud, or maybe he was going to come back just before Mania and really avenge Heyman after being snide and sneaky again. But so maybe they were going to take him apart. Maybe that's why they thought they can afford to do this and just freshen it up. But where does Roman go now then? If it isn't Brock, if they're taking a break or it is the end of the feud, then what has been the plan for who do you see on SmackDown as taking that role? Rock?
It's tricky, isn't it?
Is the Rock actually coming back?
No, I don't. That's next. See, the thing is,
it's got to be Hollywood, isn't it?
They've changed that plan. I think the plan for this year was Brock Lesnar.
Do you think?
But now it's realistically, I mean, it seems like there's more kind of main event talent on the Raw side of things than there is.
And how do you make it exciting as well? How do you make Brock? And it has been lately, the feud's been good, but how do you drag it out and make it worth something? I guess this is the match that should have happened, and they can kind of egg it on like that. And if it is a champion versus champion, you've got that settable factor. But without the kind of story way I thought they were going to do it, of Heyman's getting involved somehow, and it's going to be more about Heyman again, I don't really know you can really kind of drag it out that far.
Yes. I don't know, mate.
Or bring it back up. Even if they have the break, you bring it up, we'll go, oh, we've seen this. They need to do something to invest us again. And surely it'll be Heyman again, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's one of those strange things that we probably never know the answer to and never know the reason as to why they decided to put the title on Brock.
Well,
I think,
as Lucas said before this even happened, though, before it went this wild, it would be great to get a WWE 24 of what happened last night. I mean, that'd be fantastic. Exactly. Yeah.
So from what I heard, it was 5 p.m. was US time was when they found out about Roman.
Wow.
Being
diagnosed.
Positive. Getting the COVID positive test. By 6 p.m. was apparently when they made the call to change the match. So an hour later, and the show started at 8 p.m.
So at what point did they decide? Did they decide straight away when they put him in? It's because he's won the title, or exciting though, exciting times. And again, it made the build-up show very exciting. So if you haven't again seen any of our build-up shows, join us next month when we'll be doing the Rumble. When I'm sure that's going to be really exciting with all the rumors floating around about the Rumble.
This month, mate. Still this month.
Is it this month? Of course it is. At the end of the month.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
End of the month.
Please. That one's going to be great. It does, yeah. But I can't wait for that, man.
The Rumble ones are always really, really good fun because obviously everything can change in the table there.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll get into that now. Like talking of tables before the show, we went into it with me sitting at the top of the table on 38, Rob second place on 37, Scott and Lucas both joined on 32 points. Coming out of this show,
oh no,
I am still sitting top of the table on 42. Rob sitting on 40 points in second. Lucas moving up to the dizzy heights for him of third place on 37 points. And Scott bringing up the rear in the famous Arsenal position of fourth.
Oh, we'd be lucky if we get that these days.
Points.
Yeah, mate. Gutted is my first. Being bottom doesn't feel good, right? Now, Lucas had surely the best run he's ever had. Maybe probably the best kind of performance of the pay-per-view since we started doing it, even last year's ones.
Yeah,
but it's funny that it's come when it wasn't based on predictions. It was based on strategy of I'm going to go against you guys to lead away from the pack. So, hey, fair play. It's worked out, but hey, like you said, there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time to regain this and pick up the new one.
Yeah, I mean, if I go back on it, so he had at his best one, I think, was SummerSlam this year. He had 7. This one, he had 5. So he had more than anyone else. Correct.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So even because obviously some pay-per-views have more matches, but I guess it's your percentage rate. It's probably up there in a high percentage as far as like what he's got right and wrong. But yeah, man.
I mean, Survivor Series screwed you over, mate, with 2. You only got 2 right.
Yeah, that's where I've gone wrong badly. But
yeah, I mean, as I say, the Rumble, literally a couple of like right things for you, a couple of wrong things for me. It could literally flip itself on its head at the Rumble.
Could do.
You know, and obviously the 2-night WrestleMania as well. If that's the way they're going with it, then things can most definitely change there as well. So, but yeah, as we have spoken about briefly as well, we did recently go and do a bunch of interviews with WWE superstars. You've seen some of the graphics pop up. So we recently went and interviewed Big E, the NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa, United States champion Damian Priest, Kevin Owens, obviously we spoke to him as well, Bobby Lashley, Riddle, and the lovely Doudrop as well. So yeah, if you haven't already checked those out, go back over to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel where you'll see all of those interviews. Plus there were previous interviews that we did on the old Rebellious Noise channel. There's interviews I think they're with Drew McIntyre, Cesaro,
Finn Balor. There's quite a few on the main channel. From before we branched off into separate channels. Yeah, but definitely give those a watch as well.
Yeah, I mean they were all very good fun to do, and you know, a massive shout out as well to WWE and the press team for sorting those out for us. So thanks a lot for that, guys. Much appreciated. But yeah, I think if that's everything, then we'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your day 2.
Day 2, yeah. Are we just going to say this every podcast? Try to remember what day it is now.
And we'll be back on day 28 with the Royal Rumble.
Nice one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, Rumble's going to be really exciting. Join us for the build-up show, which we'll get our predictions in a few days before that as well. It's going to be chaos, and then obviously our recap and review and everything else you see on this channel. Definitely stick around.
Hopefully a bit of normality will be restored by then as well.
What, me going top of the table?
Well, that and maybe like a little bit of us actually being able to predict beforehand without like
the
New Year.
Yeah, of course,
like But yeah, so anyway, guys, that is everything from us. Take care and enjoy the rest of your 2022. Take care, guys. See you later. Bye for now.
See you later.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.